I just don't think anyone does it better. I don't know any other like all in one like email store everything all in one for such a low price. Like I think you'd be hard pressed to find something better than that for just general building your business off of. Okay, so today we're talking about a software audit that we did. Tara and I spent a whole bunch of time going through this. She's going to walk you through the process we used, but I wanted to give some context of why we did this and why it matters to you. First, when I started the business, I was trying a little bit of everything. I was trying to do everything by myself. So I picked software that I thought would shore up some of my weaknesses or the spots that I just didn't know what I was doing. And so we ended up with a lot of software, and a lot of it was bought on annual, which was a mistake that I would, going back, probably not do in hindsight. I'd go monthly first and then annual, but the annual savings are just always so nice that I have a hard time giving them up. Um, but it came time to take a look at everything that we had. What did it do? What were we using it for? Where was duplication? Where was stuff that we weren't really using anymore? And really what prompted it was honestly the state of things with Canada and the US. There was the tariffs coming over the weekend. There were talks of yes, no, what was it going to affect? The US dollar and Canadian dollar exchange rate really changed. And so we were also probably going to put this off for a few more months. But we decided, given the current climate and environment we're in, we decided to go through, and everything's in US dollars. So we decided if we can cut some stuff, we'll cut a lot of savings. And so we thought it'd be fun to share with all of you of our process for it, what we ended up cutting, what we ended up keeping. Feel free to steal a tech stack if you think it'll help you. But I think it's a good exercise to do, to just ask like what's actually providing value and what's not. It's the same question we ask a lot of clients is like, what effort are you putting in that's actually producing outcomes? And what effort are you putting in that's being wasted? The same concept can be applied to what are you spending your money on? It's still a resource that you have that's limited. And so if you're using it in the best ways possible, you free up money to do other things. If you're just using it and wasting, you get mediocre results with your outcomes. So I'll kind of slide around this spreadsheet as we go here. Tara, maybe you can walk them through kind of how we approached this task.
Sounds good. So we started first off trying to remember and figure out everything we had signed up for. I think we actually ended up doing this about 3 times, and because I'd message and be like, "Oh, found something else." So that's the first stage, going through and adding all of the different software, and then I think diving in and realizing what the software can do. Like we have here under the column purpose, we were surprised with like Google Worksheets or Workspace that it did more than nowadays than we remember, and some of this we should probably give it a chance or try it out. So that's number one. We also realized that with our website software,
Yeah.
that could do a way more than we are currently using it for. So could we maybe leverage that and get rid of some other things? We also looked at the seats. How much are we paying for, and is that necessary? Some of these we realized you have to pay for a set amount to like upgrade it. So it came with like 4 maybe, but we only maybe need 2 right now. But we have to pay for the 4, and then leveraging like, do we need all those seats? Maybe we can go back to 1. Maybe I don't use software as often as Jordan needs to, and then I actually don't need it full time.
Yeah. Like Workspace is a good example. We have all 4 emails active in Workspace because we actually do use all 4 for something, but we don't need all 4 for Canva. We don't need all 4 for Notion. We don't need all 4 for Flying Logic. Yeah, that really helped us narrow it down.
And then knowing when they renewed. So some of these, it was just perfect timing, and we caught it before the next renewal date. Some of the scenarios, it was like, oh, gosh damn, we just paid for another annual. And we had that debate or discussion with each other. Should we continue using the current software that we have cancelled going forward, but we still have access to, or should we start changing over to what we want to use going forward? So we've gone back and forth on that. Unfortunately, like our AI tool is a good example. We currently use something for note taking that we're going to get rid of. So going forward, we're just going to remove that from our meetings.
Yeah, that was the other thing too, is we just started finding there's a lot of overlap in software that could do similar things that was essentially good enough. Like the system is a perfect example of if anyone wants to talk more about this, feel free to reply to the email. I'm happy to chat about my journey with this software. It's a really great all-in-one solution for pretty much everything you need to do around a website. It's pretty low cost and it does everything really well, but it's not the best at any one of these things. I would pick a winner. If you had to do one of these things and only one of these things, there are better software out there for any one of them on their own. But given the fact that it can do all of these things all in one and pretty well, for the price, it's actually a really good buy for us. And it meant we could cancel a bunch of other things that we were paying for on top of it that we really didn't need the extra 20% of being really good at it. And we wouldn't have ever really realized it unless we did this exercise of going through and asking our questions of like, what's the purpose of this thing? And when we found overlap, we're like, well, if we can already do it here or in Workspace, why pay for a second thing that can do the exact same thing? That helped a lot to clarify what stays, what goes.
I think just want to re-highlight that. Like, what does something right now with where we are in the business good enough versus like what do we need the best of the best software for?
Mm-hmm. I'll give you just a quick like if I had to pick the ones you can pry away from my cold dead hands, Google Workspace. I just don't think anyone does it better. I don't know any other like all in one like email store everything all in one for such a low price. Like I think you'd be hard pressed to find something better than that for just general building your business off of. And you could probably get away with honestly building an entire business just using Workspace. Like you could make do with free Canva, free Loom, free all these other things. Google Workspace will get you 90+% of the way there.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
the other one for me is Notion. Notion's another like just all-in-one MVP of for everything you can't do with Workspace. You can even build a website with Notion. That's how insane it is. Like we aren't using it for that, but if you were to use Workspace and Notion, only those two, I'd say 95+% of your business tasks are taken care of with those two. And then my third, which is near and dear to my heart, was Flying Logic. I'll never give it up. It is the number one piece of software I use on a daily basis to make sense of my brain. So not for everybody, but for me and the way we run our business, I just don't think I could live without it now that I found it. Um,
Yeah.
and you'll see just on the side here, just to call it out, we categorize this. I just gave them fun names like love it, like it, and you'll see at the bottom there's some dead to us. Um, but this is our total annual cost, and we're fine sharing all of this. That's what we pay for software. And it was nice to see it in a real annual number of the total price we're paying for software. And then we can really ask, like, are we getting this in value from this set of software? And I totally believe we are. But initially, when we had all the software we're using in it, I would say we aren't. So it was nice to see these total numbers as well, just to sanity check ourselves on, do we really need all this stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. So scrolling down in the orange, these are some of the things that we're wondering, could we maybe go without? Um, we've realized like ChatGPT, maybe we can use the free version. We're using Riverside right now, but maybe Meets could a recording of Meets or something like that could work better, or not better. Actually, I want to rephrase that. Not better, but is this worth the cost going forward? And we will revisit this probably more realistically once or twice a year. I don't know if we would
Yeah.
do this quarterly. Um, but these are the ones that like let's keep an eye on them. How often do we use them? Like I said, maybe let's explore more of Google, what's possible within that space. And then
Yeah.
red is everything they're dead to us now.
Yeah.
Everything we cancelled. And Jordan, I think you should highlight the savings column or the savings row
Mm-hmm.
there. That is
Yeah.
key.
It was pretty wild when we did this. Like, and again, these aren't huge numbers. We're a small business, just like a lot of the businesses that we work with. But for us, like $2,400, that's a lot of money we can go put somewhere else. We can put into helping our clients. We can get software that actually automates some things that are important for us, things that actually save us time. So that's money now that we can reinvest somewhere else. And yes, it's in the grand scheme of things a small number, but when you're in small business, these little edges, as if you use them properly, can have big impacts. And so I'll give you a couple of examples of ones that I feel really proud of that we found identified that you might think you need, but you don't. Twipla was one of them. That's a web analytics tracker. I still recommend this to a lot of my clients who use their website for a lot of their business. It gives you the recordings, it gives you surveying, it gives you way more in-depth insights into your analytics. But we realized for us, our website is a place people can go and gather information. It's not the primary source of people working with us. And so for us, we don't really need that level of detail for our analytics. Now, we could have said, because everyone else does it and because everyone else needs it, we should just have it. But we knew it wasn't actually providing any real value to us. We got enough analytics by just knowing how many visitors came to our site, like just regular Google Analytics stuff. We don't need the in-depth additional tooling. And so that was a great one where like $54 a month, that's like $600 a year on software that wasn't providing value for us.
Yeah.
Another one, Honeybook. And this is, I think, a great case study in how to not work with your customers and audience. There's a couple things that happened here. One, the software itself is still pretty good. This isn't a knock on Honeybook. I think they have good software. It manages our contracts, our invoices, our signing, our onboarding. It can do a lot of your client interaction and automation for you. So if you're doing a lot of it, high volume of customers, I could totally see Honeybook being useful. For us, we focus on a smaller number of clients that we spend a lot of time with and we go all in with. So for us, we really looked at it and we said, we don't need the volume of contracts. It's not saving us that much time having it go through here versus just a contract and invoice through Canva or Google Workspace. The other thing they did was they almost
say, but ...
yeah, but ... big but ... They went and like almost doubled their pricing this last year. And we were on a much cheaper plan than this. And at that point, honestly, it might have stuck around if it would have stayed at the previous pricing. But given the price increase of almost double, given that it was in US dollars, like $70 a month for contracts, invoicing, and onboarding automation, I kind of think they're out of their mind, if I'm being totally honest with their pricing right now. I don't think that they have a software that's that valuable, especially for anybody in Canada who's going to pay the exchange rate to make it worth it. So again, for us, like if we needed these things in the future, now because they did the price increase, I'm probably not going back to Honeybook. We'll look for something else that's a little bit more reasonable. We'll probably look for a Canadian company that's going to be doing it. But some of these things, like just a reminder to people, make sure when you are increasing your pricing, I would do it as experiments. I would roll it out slowly. I would test to see reaction. I have a feeling they probably got a lot of people canceling based on sentiment I saw online. And I'm wondering what they ended up doing. Maybe I don't have all the picture and maybe that actually went really well and it's not a big deal for them. But for us, it was. And so we decided that was enough.
Yeah. This took a while. I want everyone to be realistic with that. Going in, be prepared for some frustration of finding where or how to cancel. That workflow is not straightforward and easy to find on a lot of these softwares.
Goodness.
But now that we have this, now that we know the cost, we have a better idea of where to click in each software, and we have this list. I think this will be a lot easier going forward when we do it. But to start, we did have to dedicate a couple of hours to sit down and do this properly.
Yeah. Your first one will take a lot longer than your follow-ups will because you're collecting all of the loose ends that have probably just happened to you over the last year or two. But it's incredibly valuable. Honestly, I think knowing that we were going to put it off, I'm like thankful that we had this push to do it now instead of later, because I feel a lot better that we don't have all these loose ends just hanging out there. I know that the software that we're using is now valuable to us. I think it's a worthwhile thing to do. Spend the hour or two to invest in doing this once. It gets easier as you go. And then you can just ask yourself real questions. When you add a new piece of software, what is the purpose that it's providing? Is it something that we can already get somewhere that we want to try first? Or do we need the best of the best? If you do need the best of the best, if you're doing a ton of social media, maybe Buffer becomes like a love it and you pay for it and you go all in. Cool. That works for you. That's what you need. Absolutely. But if it's not, you can always ask yourself, is there a way to try it first with an existing tool like a Workspace or a Notion to see if we need more than what it gives us? And it can save you a lot over a long period of time for sure. Awesome. Okay. Well, if you have any questions on tech stack, software audits, etc., automating things that you do in your business, there is a lot of great stuff out there, and we'd love to have a conversation on how we could help you find the right tool for the job you have. But this is just a good reminder of just because the software exists doesn't necessarily need to mean that you have to have it. It's only if it provides an actual value to and solves a real problem.
Yeah, completely agree.
Okay. Thanks, Tara. Thanks for pushing us to do this too. Tara really helped clarify a lot of these things that I just kind of did over the first little bit of the business. So it was helpful having a second pair of eyes and ears to help out.
I liked checking it off the to-do list.
I
All
think that
right.
sums things up perfectly. Okay. See you next Tuesday.
See ya.